Hi, I'm Jeff Luty, the window expert. Thank you for watching this video. Today I want to talk to you about some of the features, the benefits, and maybe a little bit of a gripe that I've got about the hinged swinging door from Infinity, from Marvin. Now, if you've watched any of my videos, you know that I'm a big fan of the Infinity from Marvin product. In fact, I put windows from Infinity in my own house. So what do I like about just the Infinity products in general? Well, number one is a composite window. In fact, it is the future of windows. I made a video called The Future of the Window Industry, and there's a link to it below. It is so amazing when you think about composites, how far windows have come and like the direction where we're going, because everyone's trying to find a way to make a better window at a fair and affordable price. And I believe that Infinity from Marvin has been doing it. Fiberglass is 8 times stronger than regular vinyl. So if you're talking about a run-of-the-mill vinyl window, like the kind you'd get from the big box store or some of these salespeople that come to your house that offer a bargain basement window, this stuff is 8 times stronger than that. It's 4 times stronger than aluminum, and it's even stronger, much stronger than the Renewal by Andersen Fibrex. But one of the things I really like about composites, well, there's so many, but one of the things I really like about it is that they're future-proof in the sense that this door right now is in this cocoa color, right? We can actually repaint this door anytime we want, just like you can repaint an actual wood door. But we don't have those drawbacks of wood. We don't have the expansion and the contraction like you would see on real wood. We don't have rotting like you'd see on real wood. We don't have problem with termites or bugs or anything like that happening with this like you would see with real wood. Now people say, well then Jeff, I really like the real wood look. I really want real wood because I want to stain it on the inside. I want it to be beautiful like this part of my house or that part of my house. Well, you're in luck today because Infinity from Marvin, under windows and their doors, they make a product that's called Everwood. And as the name implies, this will last forever. This is a man-made, inorganic material that looks like wood, it feels like wood, and it actually takes paint or stain just like you would with real wood. But as you can see, looking at a side profile of it here, this is actually a 100% solid composite material you're looking at here with this overlay, which is, I mean, it is microscopically thin, but it still has a raised surface. I can actually feel the raised surface on this. So you can stain this, you can paint this, you can repaint this if you like. So you can get the benefits of the wood look on the inside of your home while you're getting the benefits of a composite material, right, on the exterior portion of your home. It's really a way to have the best of both worlds. Now this is optional, right? You don't have to do this. You could just do a painted interior. And this is, by the way, this is an acrylic paint. Don't get me started on acrylic paint. Oh my God, acrylic paint is really, really good stuff. And it actually has a much richer look and color to it. So it feels nice and deep and it feels real. And when somebody says, you know, wet paint, how you want to reach out and touch it, this stuff almost looks like wet paint. It's not glossy, but you can tell it's like so fresh, it's so new. It's vibrant. Their blacks are really nice and black. Their you know, white is really nice and white, but without looking like printer paper white like some vinyl windows do. So you're going to get a lot of quality out of this, and you're going to get beauty out of it at the same time. So let me point out a few things about this door that I find really interesting, and then I'm going to tell you something I'm a little grumpy about, but they're working on it, okay? So first of all, what you see in this sample is the fact that we have these beautiful, what we call SDL grids. S stands for simulated divided light. This actually looks, right, like it has 2, 4, 6 panes of glass, but it's not. It's one nice big sheet of glass on the outside of the house and a nice big sheet of glass on the inside of the house. And then of course it has argon gas in the middle, which argon gas helps it to be more energy efficient. It helps reduce the transfer of heat and cold, helps reduce sound, and it actually helps reduce condensation, like sweating on the glass. So that's really nice to have. On the inside as well, you can see that I have that actual SDL. So the nice thing about this looks very realistic. Like some window companies, I'm going to show you a sample right over here. They have the grid between the glass. So you can see that that's between the glass, not on the surface. That looks nice, but it looks sort of flat and non-dimensional compared to something like this. You can see the nice dimension on this. Look at that nice beveled edge to it. It's just really beautiful. Also, what you'll notice too on the Infinity from Marvin products is you'll also have a beveled edge around the perimeter here, okay? So a lot of window companies that might put a beveled edge on the grid, they don't have a beveled edge on the actual frame itself, and so it doesn't have that sort of ultra premium, nice, rich look and feel to it. A door like this is actually a celebration of hard work and success. Like, very few people can appreciate how beautiful this door is unless you're the kind of person who really likes to see things that are nice and you want to reward yourself by spending the kind of money you would on a door like this. This is not the cheapest door I sell. Let me say this, it's not the most expensive door I sell. It is the best value door I sell because a door like this made out of composite materials is going to last you for a very, very long time. In fact, I'd venture to say it'll outlast your mortgage, okay? So these are really, really good doors. Now, here's a couple things I want to point out to you. One is, this has a multi-point lock. You say, Jeff, what is a multi-point lock? Well, meaning it doesn't just lock right here, it locks in 4 different places. So you've got a lock right here, okay? Then if I raise this handle like that, it engages the deadbolt. You can see that right there. So watch here, the deadbolt, right? So that's 1 and that's 2. And then up here, if you see these pins that are moving right here, see that moving? That's actually pushing this pin right here on top. That is a high tensile strength metal pin right there that actually penetrates into a receiver right up here, okay? And then this, if you notice, has 4 fasteners holding this plate in place, and it's got the same thing on the bottom. And what we do when we come out to your house and we install this, these are just the temporary ones that hold it in place. We will actually use 3 1/8 inch long screws that are polymer coated so they'll never rust or deteriorate if any moisture for some reason was behind your wall. Those will go straight up into there and they'll go in and actually hit the header across the top of your house, that big beam that's up there. Imagine that, right? Like, we've got a really good place where we're anchoring to the top, and we've got really great places right here where we're anchoring on the sides, right here with these screws, right? We'll take these screws and we get a long screw that runs all the way through there. It doesn't hit that little 2x4 in there. I mean, it goes way down deep into the studs. So we get a good bite, right? Because what good is a door that moves and it's opening? What good is a door that someone can just easily kick the door down and walk into your house? It's not. So you want, this is 8 times stronger than vinyl? Well, we better screw that thing in and make sure it's really doing its job by being up against the framing on your house. And that's what they can do. Now you can see, just by looking at this, if you have a trained eye, that there's some really nice touches on this door. Like, for example, I notice how here where this hinge is, they actually have a cutout for the weather stripping. Look how they cut out the weather stripping there. So you have a dual weather stripping, you have the outside weather stripping, you have the inside weather stripping, right? And then you have a little cutout so that this hinge will lay nice and flat, okay? We want that. And then if you notice, there's another weather skirt. I call this a weather skirt right here. I can pull it out for you to look at it. See that? It's black, so it's kind of hard to see, but you've actually got another weather skirt lining the interior jamb of that. So when this closes, these 2 pieces press against there. This edge of the door presses against here, okay? You've got 1, 2, 3 places that are really sealing that tight. Now, some people do that as well. Other brands have done something similar, but they don't use this type of material. This is a memory type material. I'm not going to say memory foam, but that's mattresses. This is more of a memory type material. And I believe it is silicone based, sort of like the stuff that you would use for baking, right? Those pans you can put in the oven, because it does resist the heat really well, and it retains its shape. Like, you could come back here, you could close this thing 10,000 times, okay? Come back 20 years later and open this door up and it's not flat. A lot of companies are using that fur pile. Here's a picture of it. That fur pile stuff, right? That after just a short period of time, it starts becoming flat, and then now, well, guess what? All that air is coming in around that door and then leaking back into your house. You're not going to get that with this product because it's well designed and they pay attention to the details. Another nice little detail that they did is, if you see right here, it looks like there's a screw missing, but there's not a screw missing. That's actually a place for me to adjust with an Allen wrench, to adjust the position of that hinge. It has like some movement where I can push it in or out, and it causes it to be adjustable so that when I go to close this door, right? I really want this thing to line up and to land nice and flat up against that surface. And the only way for me to do that properly is to be able to adjust this hinge in and out in all three positions to make sure I've got a really nice contact point right here. I would venture to say that you could take a garden hose and just spray the dog out of this thing right here for 20 minutes. And I don't think you'd have any chance of water coming into this door because of the way it's built. Now, it's not just built well, but it's also built to very strict tolerances. We can actually order these doors in increments of 30 seconds of an inch, okay? That's pretty fine increments. Why? Well, because we want this door to fit right into the opening. What good is it to spend a lot of money on a beautiful door only for it to fit sloppily inside the opening? So the tolerances on this thing are great. That's why they have all these fine-tuning adjustments, because any door that's a great door, you know once you get it in, because the houses aren't all square and plumb, it's going to need some fine-tuning. And the fact that you've got 6 places to fine-tune that door means your installer, he's going to probably hate you, because it's like a Rubik's Cube. You move one piece, the other one moves. But when this thing is dialed in, it's going to be beautiful. It's going to work, and it's going to close it. It's going to last for a very long time, and you know it's going to be beautiful. By the way, this uses ball bearings inside of these hinges, so you don't get that creaky sound. Listen to what you don't hear here, okay? There's nothing. A cheap door would sound like this. Yeah, that's a cheap door. You don't want that. You want a really good, high-quality door. Now, I thought this was pretty cool, too. Look at this weather stripping here. This is the biggest weather stripping on the door, okay? You've got smaller ones on that side there, but look at here where the 2 door panels meet. This is a really nice weather stripping right there. And I wish you could feel it. It kind of feels like skin. Like it's got this sort of soft, pliable nature to it. Yet it's got a little bit of a rough edge to it. Have you ever petted a shark? No, you've never petted a shark? Well, if you had, I have. They have that sort of like coarseness to them, but they also feel a little bit spongy. And that's what makes me think about that. You've got one of those across the top. You've got one coming down here across the front. And then where it intersects with this door, the stationary panel, which is operable as well, you can see that that door comes up against this door. So check this out. I mean, I think this is like stand right, you gotta come this way a little bit. See this piece right here? That piece right there? That's gonna close inside of this gap right here. See that? And then you got another one of those here. So essentially you have a left, and then that one goes into the center. And so you got these 2 sort of interlocking like this. So when I close this door, which by the way, this also has a mechanism just like that one does, right? None of those little shoe bolt things you have to push and break your fingernail off. Mama don't like that. This is actually done right here with a lever. So when this door closes up against that door, I've got a really nice handshake happening here. I've got these two guys are working together like this, like they're locking arms like brothers, right? Grabbing that sword and conquering that mountain. So when these 2 things connect here, over this area, this is called an astragal. Astragal, okay, I'll spell it for you here. So you've got a really good connection at the top. You've got the weather stripping, I can even see it here, pushing up against the top. Got weather stripping down the sides, weather stripping on the inside, weather stripping on one panel that meets the other panel. I mean, literally, I think if you really tried to get this thing to leak, I don't think you could. And you know, down here in Houston, we get a lot of rain. Maybe where you live, you don't get a lot of rain, but you get a lot of cold snow. Maybe you get a lot of wind, or you know I lived in the Panhandle of Texas. Boy, it's windy out there. Tumbleweeds are, you know, the size of cars rolling down the highway at 80 miles an hour. So having a good unit like this that'll seal properly is amazing. Now, we didn't talk about the glass, okay? The glass on this is made by Cardinal. Remember, I've told you before, there's about 1,800 window companies in the US, but really 4 major glass makers. And the best of the best of the best is gonna be Cardinal. Now, Cardinal, just like General Motors, right? General Motors has the Chevy, and then they have the GMC, and they have the Cadillac. They make different tiers depending on what the manufacturer orders from them. So these guys have spared no expense. I guess what I'm saying is, just because somebody tells you, oh, this window comes with Cardinal glass, doesn't mean it's the best Cardinal glass out there. This is the best that Cardinal has to offer. But we also know that because fiberglass is made out of silica, which Glass is made out of silica. When you have a fiberglass door made out of this composite material like we're using here, you have the expansion and contraction that is similar between the glass and the frame. So you don't end up with separation issues. You don't end up with these things where the door fails, or the glass fails after a few years because it's become separated from the frame itself. If you even notice here where we have these grids that are bumping up against this particular bevel here, right? These are nice and tight. I can't fit my credit card in there. Some brands, they've been sitting out in the sun for a couple of weeks, a couple of months. You can actually, because of the expansion and contraction, these things have shrunk and this thing's expanded and there's a gap in there, right? But you don't get that when you get a high quality composite product like this. So look at this. Look at these colors that they have. Now remember, you can paint this any color you want, but I like this Sierra right here. It's got a little bit of yellow in it. Some people say, oh, not so much, Jeff, but we find that customers like that Sierra and the Cashmere. Those two seem to be really cool, big sellers. Now, obviously, Ebony, which is, they're black, that's a big hit as well. And so is white, but you ought to check out a couple of these colors, or maybe that pebble gray. Grays are getting kind of in. I don't see a whole lot of demand for the Bahama Brown, but some people still like it. And then, of course, these are your interior options, okay? You see exterior, interior, and there's that Everwood I was telling you about. And then, of course, when it comes to the hardware, like your hinges and the door hardware, etc., you can see that you have several different options here to pick from. I think this brushed chrome one is pretty cool. It's got a little bit of a shine to it, but it's not glossy. You'd have to see this in person to really appreciate it, but they do a really good job on their hardware. They do a really good job on their finishes. This is like jewelry for your house, right? Like, does the jewelry make the man, or does the man make the jewelry? I would say it's the jewelry that makes the man, right? I'm not wearing any today. Well, I've got my cool Bell & Howell aviation watch on, but generally speaking, it's the jewelry that kind of makes the man. And this jewelry for your home makes your home even more beautiful. Now, okay, so you say, Jeff, what's your gripe? Here's the gripe. A lot of doors here in the South and in this part of the country, all the way across to the coast, they go to about 97 inches tall in a replacement door, and this will only go to 95.5 currently, but I've spoken with my friends over at Infinity from Marvin. They've promised me that they're working on that. They have to do some special machine upgrades in order to do that, but if you are going to buy this door and you have more than a 95.5 inch opening, talk to a professional. There's a workaround for that. You'll never know that the door is slightly shorter than the one you have. We do it all the time. My homeowners love it. But if there was one thing they can improve on this, and they're working on it, one thing they can improve on this would be to make this door all the way up to about 97.5 inches tall for that situational environment where maybe you started with a taller door to begin with. Hey, has this been fun? I mean, I know it's a long video, but I really wanted to share my heart, my passion for you, with you about this door, because it is really a well-made door and I'm very proud of it. And I know this, I sell this door to somebody, I can bump into them at church, I can bump into them at the mall. I know I can look them in the eye and they'll smile and say, Jeff, that door, wow, that door. Thanks, Jeff. Hey, if this has been helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe. And I would love to earn your business if you live in Houston or if you live in the DFW market. We're up in the DFW market as well. But if you don't live in that area, check out my website, because I have a big list. It's thewindowexperts.com. Have a big, long list of great window companies all over the country. I probably know somebody near you. Thanks for watching. Take care. I'll talk to you again real soon.